I see what ho, chaps and chapettes, GameChap and Bertie here.
Yes.
Yes, Vadel's here with the top 10 missing features from Super Mario Maker 2 on Nintendo Switch.
Yes, indeed. So what's missing or perhaps could be added?
Indeed.
So let's look at one of these. How about the playable Luigi? Now, Luigi's already playable, of course,
yes.
But what about characteristics for Luigi?
Well, exactly, that's a very good point. So we've seen that possibly Luigi playable there, but what about, his famous high floaty jump and that slippy slidey run he does? I mean, it's in Super Smash Bros., so why is it here in Mario Maker? So this is perhaps something that would add some more challenge to the game if you not only had those high floaty jumps that could be used to reach, out of reach areas of Mario, but also offsetting that, the slidey run where perhaps, if you're not careful, you're running too fast, you could run straight into a trap or straight off the edge.
Most indeed, yes, and I think the high jump could be rather useful for a lot of Mario Maker courses.
That's right, you could make custom courses specifically for Luigi that only Luigi could beat, etc. and so forth.
Exactly.
Quite an interesting idea there. And moving on here, we come to a new theme idea. We have quite a few of these, but this is the first one, Super Mario AllStars. How about that theme?
AllStars theme, exactly. An entire theme that you could plug into the game, you mean, yes?
Well, that's right. I mean, right now we've got, of course, the original Mario Brothers, Mario World, Mario Brothers 3, but we don't have Mario All-Stars. And it's it's a famous remake of the first, 3 or 4 games that I think is quite a controversial remake. Some fans don't like that look. Some prefer the original NES look, but there are also fans who appreciate the All-Stars remake. I think, to be honest, I prefer All-Stars. How about you?
Well, yes, indeed. I mean, yes, why not? But what about having a special power-up in it as well?
That's a good idea. Yes. What kind of power-up?
How about the hammer suit?
That's a rather good idea too. Yes, so all the other themes, of course, all have their own power-ups. Like 3D World's got the cat suit, Mario World's got the cape feather. Why can't All-Stars, for example, have the hammer suit? I mean, Mario 3's already got the Tanuki leaf, but the hammer suit hasn't yet been seen in Mario Maker.
Indeed. So, themes, perhaps. Now, we talked about a playable Luigi a minute ago.
Yes.
But what about playable Peach and Daisy characteristics?
Ah, yes, of course, that's right. So being able to not only play as Peach and Daisy, but also have their own special characteristics when you're playing as them. For example, while playing as Peach, you hold down the jump button to float, like she does in Super Mario Bros. 2, and Daisy, like she does in Super Mario Run, would get 2 jumps instead of a float.
Yes, indeed. So we know we can play these characters, but if you added those characteristics, it could be rather fun. Like you say, the floating, the double jumping, whatever.
Actually, I'm not sure if we can play as Princess Peach right now, because after all, we're trying to save her, aren't we? But
yes.
If you could play as her with those characteristics, that would be quite fun, I have to say.
Yes, you're right, yes.
So moving on then, Fidels, we come to another theme idea here. This time, it's Super Mario Land, the Game Boy classic game. And we saw originally in Super Mario Maker a Super Mario Land themed amiibo costume where you could play as the very retro Game Boy style Mario sprite there. So why didn't we have the Mario Land theme as well?
Well, yes, why not? And with that one, perhaps the power-up could be the Super Ball.
Indeed, the Super Ball is not the same as the Fire Flower. A lot of fans get this thing confused. It looks like the Fire Flower, but actually the Super Ball differs. You can only have one Super Ball out at one time, and also, rather than just being destroyed when it hits a wall, it'll actually bounce around the stage.
Yes, indeed. So that's rather fun. A good idea perhaps is missing or could be added.
Yes.
Now, what about, let's look at the next one. What about the Marine Pop?
Oh yes, the Marine Pop, that's right. Right now we have an airborne vehicle, which is the Koopa Clown car that Mario and the enemies can use to fly around in. But what about an underwater vehicle? We don't yet have one of those, and to my knowledge, Mario Land was the only game where you could pilot the Marine Pop. What is the Marine Pop, you ask? Well, it's a submarine that fires torpedoes.
Yes, it's a little submarine that basically goes right.
Yes.
That's how that game plays. And you fire torpedoes at everything. You have to blast out the way the terrain and the baddies, etc. so forth.
That's right, then there's a boss at the end. It really seems quite out of place for a Mario game, but of course that was part of Mario Land and a big part of it, and those who played that game will remember piloting that submarine and blasting the baddies out the way. So I think quite a possibly fun idea there, and since we have the Koopa Clown car and now the Koopa car for driving along in Mario Maker 2, something underwater would be a nice touch, I think.
It most certainly would, yes indeed.
Yes, and I mentioned Daisy earlier from Super Mario Run. Why don't we have a Super Mario Run mode?
An entire mode of Super Mario Run.
That's right, so it would be a mode where you didn't actually control Mario's running, he auto-runs, and then you can do various tricks to get through the courses. Again, for something like that, you might have to have custom courses made for that mode, but I'm sure that could be popular,
Well, I suppose in a way you can kind of do an auto-run thing, can't you?
Well, kind of, but that's like full auto. You know, this
Yes.
would just be auto running and manual jumping, you see.
Yes.
So quite an interesting possibility there. Then, of course, we have to remember not everyone who plays Super Mario Maker is an expert. So how about, like we saw in some new Super Mario Brothers games, the option to play as Nabbit?
Nabbit. So why don't we explain who Nabbit is?
Well, yes, Nabbit mode. Of course, the little purple-themed thief chap. He was invincible to enemies and could basically run through the entire stage without taking any damage, so ideal for beginner players.
Most certainly. How about a dynamic day and night cycle? You can have night and day.
Yes.
But with dynamics, where it actually happened.
Well, that's quite interesting. You could start the stage, for example, in the daytime, then as you move through the stage, the in-game time progresses, and it's getting a bit late, and all of a sudden it's nighttime. So yes, that's something that could be interesting. Indeed, many AAA titles right now do have that day-night cycle. Breath of the Wild had it. I think Odyssey had it. I can't remember for sure now. I think it did. But yes, it might be nice to see the day-night cycle in Mario Maker that could add a lot of potential and open many doors for course makers to make some interesting designs.
Most certainly, when it gets night, for example, you have to be careful where you're going, etc. so forth.
This is quite interesting.
Or it could change to a lava, scene, whatever.
Exactly, it could change to have, different water. Water could turn to lava or poison water, and more enemies could come out. So there's many things that could be done with the day-night cycle. And moving on there, we'll come to a new theme idea. This is number 9, and how about this? A Super Mario Galaxy theme. 2D, of course.
Well, Galaxy, yes, I mean, such a popular game back in the day.
Yes.
You'd think they'd perhaps put it in.
Well, indeed, and before you ask, what's the special power-up going to be? What do you think, Bertie?
Let me think. Rosalina.
No, not Rosalina, no, almost. The special power-up of Mario Galaxy could, of course, be the Luma. So, Mario can do that little spin jump he does. Wah! You sort of shake the controller, and he can spin and knock out enemies, break blocks, etc. and so forth, and get more height when he's jumping.
Well, yes, most certainly.
And, of course, the Super Mario Galaxy theme would have its own set of blocks and features that were exclusive to that theme. So there's many things you could do with that in a 2D frame, a bit like we saw the 3D world, also making that transition to a 2D theme when they added it to Mario Maker 2.
Yes, indeed. And number 10 then, still looking at the themes, that was a good one, Galaxy. But what about perhaps a Super Mario 64 theme?
Oh, yes, please. I like Super Mario 64. We could have a Super Mario 64 low poly theme where Mario and all the enemies are kind of a bit blocky, as they were back in Mario 64. And it could also, of course, have its own special power-up, being either the wing cap or the metal cap. Both of those would be very fun, I think.
Yes, indeed. The metal hat would be fun, wouldn't it? Yes.
Yes, that's right. Stomping through enemies or using the wing cap to fly through the sky in the unique way it does, and of course all the different appearances of the enemies. They could remake existing enemies in the old blocky style. They could make new music for it. It could be really exciting.
Most certainly could be, yes, indeed. So, sort of things there missing, perhaps, or could be added?
Yes, I think there's a lot of potential to add new things, and of course we don't yet know. Will Nintendo add some more things later on as DLC? We'll have to wait and see. But we hope this has got you interested, fellows, in Super Mario Maker 2 even more, and certainly for us, this game is already looking to be a game that's full of fun and potential. We're looking forward to playing it, old boy.
Oh, most certainly, yes, indeed.
Yes, playable Luigi characteristics, Mario All-Stars, playable Peach and Daisy characteristics, Mario Land theme, the Marine Pop underwater vehicle, Mario Run mode, Nabbit mode, dynamic day-night cycle, and Mario Galaxy in 64 themes. What do you think of these ideas, fellows? Let us know your own in the comment section. This has been GameChap and Bertie, bringing you a Mario Maker 2 Top 10.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next exciting video. Until then.
Bye-bye.